One autumn afternoon in Chicago, I got a phone call that completely changed my life. The number was unfamiliar, but something told me to answer. When I did, a voice I recognized immediately spoke. "Samantha, it's Isabella," she said, with a strange mix of formal and cold tones. "Isabella?" I asked, trying to keep calm. "What's going on?" "Isabella, my sister, who I hadn't spoken to in years, told me our grandmother had passed away." The news shocked me, but I could tell she had another reason for calling. "I just wanted to let you know," she said, almost mocking. "I'm sure you're busy with your simple life." Her words hurt, but I kept my cool. "Thanks for telling me, I'll make arrangements to come," I replied. Her words made me think of the past. Growing up, Isabella was always the favorite. She had our father's approval and seemed to have everything fall into place, while I was often overlooked, no matter how hard I tried. We hadn't spoken much in years, especially after she took my fiancé, David, away from me. He was the love of my life, but she used her charm to get him to leave me. That betrayal hurt deeply, not just because of the breakup, but because of the way it made me feel less than her. Our family had always been divided. Our father, tough and unbending, always preferred Isabella, while my mother tried to stay neutral. I had given up on that family, cutting ties after Isabella's betrayal. I left my job as a school administrator to focus on my daughter, Lily, and my supportive husband, John. We lived a simple but loving life in the suburbs. Lily, who was 6, was full of creativity and had a popular YouTube channel for her drawings. Though I had built a good life, Isabella's call brought back old feelings. The idea of going back to the family home for the funeral made me nervous. I hadn't been there in years, and the memories were complicated. My grandmother had always been the one person to support me, and now, her death was pulling me back into a past I'd tried to forget. I spent the days leading up to the funeral preparing, knowing I would have to face Isabella again. It wasn't just about mourning our grandmother, it was about confronting everything I'd tried to leave behind: the betrayal, the competition, and the painful family dynamics. When the funeral day came, I stood outside the old family home. It looked just like I remembered, yet somehow different, full of memories of both good and bad times. Inside, the air was thick with grief. I saw familiar faces, some sad, some with hidden motives. As I moved through the crowd, I saw Isabella. She still had that same ability to draw attention, surrounded by people hanging on her every word. Even after all these years, it felt like the rivalry between us was still alive. During the ceremony, as eulogies were being read, Isabella approached me. "Samantha," she said, with a smile that didn't reach her eyes, "it's been a while." I smiled back, though it felt forced, and said, "Yes, it has. How have you been?" "Oh, you know," she answered sweetly but with an edge, "life has been interesting." I could sense the old tension between us. This reunion wasn't just about our grandmother, it was about confronting all the past pain and betrayals. I didn't know then, but this meeting would lead to revelations that would change everything I thought I knew about Isabella and our family. In the days leading up to the funeral, I tried to focus on my family, but the thought of seeing Isabella again was always in my mind. The past was never far away, and now it was about to resurface in ways I couldn't imagine. On the day of the funeral, the family home was full of people paying their respects. The house felt heavy with memories of past fights, laughter, and secrets. As I walked through the house, I could feel Isabella's gaze on me. Her polished exterior was still hiding the rivalry between us, but I could tell it wouldn't take long before she would try to confront me again. "I've been meaning to catch up," Isabella said, sounding curious. "It's been a while since we've had a chance to talk." I forced a smile, trying to keep my emotions under control. "Yes, it has. How have things been for you?" "Oh, you know," Isabella replied with a casual wave of her hand. "Busy, but good. I'm sure you've heard from the family about how things have been for me." I nodded, though I wasn't completely sure what she was talking about. The last I'd heard, Isabella was living a glamorous life in Los Angeles. The stories I'd been told made it seem like everything was perfect for her, but I knew not to believe everything I heard. At the wake, Isabella made sure to mention how successful she was. She talked about her life in Los Angeles, her expensive lifestyle, and all the things she'd accomplished. It felt like she was trying to show off, to make everyone think her life was better than mine. I watched her, feeling both curious and annoyed. I knew that beneath all her confidence was a lot of pretending and manipulation. It was hard to ignore her mentions of David Parker, my former fiancé and now her ex-husband. She casually spoke about him, trying to act like their failed marriage didn't bother her. It was painful to hear. David had once been my everything. We'd planned a future together, until Isabella used her charm to steal him from me. That betrayal had broken my heart. Watching Isabella act like nothing had happened was a harsh reminder of the pain I'd tried to move on from. I decided I had to confront her, hoping to get some closure. As the crowd started to thin out, I pulled her aside into a quiet corner of the house. "Isabella, can we talk?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She looked at me, her eyes narrowing slightly. Of course, what's on your mind? I need to understand why, I said, struggling to keep my emotions in check. Why did you have to take David from me? What made you think you could just take him away? Isabella's expression changed from fake cheerfulness to something colder, more calculating. Samantha, it wasn't about taking anything. David and I had our own connection. You just didn't see it. You manipulated him, I said, my voice rising with emotion. You knew how much I loved him. She shrugged casually. David made his own choices. You need to move on, Samantha. Life doesn't wait for anyone. Her dismissive attitude made me furious. You never understood, did you? I said, struggling to stay calm. It wasn't just about David. It was about how you always seemed to get everything you wanted, while I had to work for everything. Isabella's face hardened. Don't blame me for your failures. We all have our struggles. Maybe if you'd been more assertive, things would have been different. Her words felt like a punch to the gut, reopening old wounds I thought had healed. I wanted to yell at her, but I took a deep breath to calm myself. This isn't just about David, I said, my voice shaking with emotion. It's about our family, the way things have always been stacked against me. Before Isabella could reply, we were interrupted by some distant relatives walking in. I had no choice but to walk away, leaving the confrontation unresolved. The rest of the evening blurred into a mix of familiar faces and condolences, but my mind was consumed with thoughts of the past and my ongoing issues with Isabella. The next day, as the funeral came to an end, I felt a strange mix of relief and unease. The family's problems were still deeply tangled, and I knew there was more to uncover. Isabella's perfect life was beginning to show cracks, and I was determined to uncover the truth. I left the funeral feeling heavy but with a renewed sense of purpose. There was more to the story, and I was ready to face it head-on. The confrontation had opened the door for deeper revelations, and I was prepared to uncover all the lies and deceptions that had shaped our lives. In the days that followed, there was an unsettling calm. I kept replaying the confrontation with Isabella in my mind, trying to make sense of everything. It was clear that the family's issues were far from over. My mother's apology was nice, but it didn't heal the rift that had existed for years. Thankfully, John and Lily were there for me. They could tell something was wrong, but instead of prying, they just offered support. Lily, with her innocent energy, kept pouring her heart into her YouTube channel, sharing her drawings with her audience. Her joy was a light in the midst of all the chaos. It wasn't long before Isabella's next move came. She took to social media, subtly mocking me with posts veiled in sarcasm. She painted herself as the picture of success, while implying that my life was dull and insignificant. It was frustrating to watch her try to undermine my happiness in such a public way. That's when Lily's YouTube channel became part of the solution. After one particularly cruel post from Isabella, Lily and I decided it was time to use her platform for more than just sharing art. We made a video that countered Isabella's lies, focusing on the positive parts of our life while subtly addressing the false things Isabella had been spreading. The video, seemingly innocent, included enough subtle references to make it clear we were aware of Isabella's attempts to put us down. It quickly gained traction, and soon, the comment sections on both Lily's channel and Isabella's posts were filled with reactions. People began to see Isabella's true colors. The perfect image she'd crafted was quickly falling apart. As the video went viral, Isabella's reputation started to crumble. The social media backlash was swift, with people pointing out the contradictions in her stories and questioning her honesty. The facade she had worked so hard to build was now exposing her vulnerabilities. At the same time, Isabella's personal life began to unravel. David, dealing with the public fallout from our confrontation and the negative attention surrounding his marriage to Isabella, made a critical mistake at work. He was let go from his job as a software engineer. The pressure from both his personal and professional life became too much for him, and he spiraled into self-doubt. Unable to handle the emotional and financial stress, Isabella made a drastic move. She filed for divorce, cutting her ties with David completely. Their son, James, was caught in the middle of it all. Due to Isabella's unstable situation, he was placed in a care facility, a stark contrast to the glamorous life she had once flaunted. The family dynamics were changing fast. My mother, always more sympathetic to me, came to me with an apology. She admitted that her favoritism toward Isabella had been wrong and apologized for the pain it had caused me. "I'm so sorry for everything, Samantha," she said, regret in her eyes. "We should have done better by you. I see now how much pain we caused." I appreciated her words, but the scars of the past weren't so easily healed. I chose to keep a distant but civil relationship with her, focusing on what really mattered, my family's happiness and well-being. With everything happening, John and I decided to take a break from the drama. We planned a fun day at an amusement park, giving Lily a chance to enjoy herself and allowing us to reconnect as a family. It was a reminder of the simple joys in life and the love we shared. The trip was everything we needed, a day full of laughter and bonding. It strengthened our family and reminded me of the fulfilling life we had built together. It was a much-needed escape from the chaos, and it reaffirmed the importance of moving forward with love and support. As we enjoyed the day together, I realized that while the past had its shadows, the future held the promise of light. With Isabella's downfall and the family's apologies, I finally felt a sense of closure. The journey wasn't over, but for now, I could focus on cherishing the present and looking forward to a brighter future. The weeks following our trip to the amusement park brought a sense of peace I hadn't felt in a long time. Life, once shaken by family drama, was slowly finding balance again. Looking around at my little family, I realized how much we had grown through the challenges. Isabella's downfall, while hard to witness, was a harsh reminder of the harm caused by envy and manipulation. Her failed attempts to put me down had only highlighted her own collapse, her divorce, the loss of her son to a care facility, and the unraveling of her carefully built reputation. David, once a part of my life, was now just a distant figure, grappling with his own struggles after losing his job. But I felt distant from it all. My focus had shifted entirely to my own family and the life we had worked hard to build. John and I continued to strengthen our bond, finding support in one another. Our daughter Lily thrived in her creative passions. Her YouTube channel, filled with positivity and joy, remained a source of happiness, even in the midst of everything. Watching her grow was a constant reminder of what truly mattered. One day, I received a letter from my mother. She apologized sincerely for the way things had played out and asked for my forgiveness. While I appreciated her apology, I knew that healing would take time. I responded kindly, acknowledging her regret and emphasizing that moving forward was key. Our family dynamics had permanently shifted, but the experience had also brought clarity. The favoritism towards Isabella and the fallout that followed taught me lessons about resilience and forgiveness. It was clear that healing from old wounds needed more than just time. It required understanding and the willingness to let go of past hurts. In quiet moments of reflection, I saw that the pain of the past had made my bond with my family stronger. John, Lily, and I had become closer than ever, and our shared experiences deepened our appreciation for each other. We found comfort in our everyday routines and the small moments that brought us joy. As summer faded into fall, I began planning a new project, one that would honor the lessons learned and the family we had become. I started a community initiative focused on helping families navigate conflicts and strengthen relationships. It was a way to turn my own experiences into something positive, offering support to others facing similar challenges. Looking back, I saw how far we had come from the turbulent days, the confrontation at our grandmother's funeral, the revelations that followed, and the social media battles. All of it had led to a deep transformation. Isabella's story became a cautionary tale, but it also reminded me of my own strength and the importance of moving forward with love. As I closed this chapter, I felt a sense of closure. The journey had been difficult, but it had also been enlightening. The road ahead held promise, and I was ready to embrace it with an open heart. In the end, it was the love of my family and the lessons we had learned that guided me through. With John by my side, Lily's laughter filling our home, and the community project taking shape, I knew the future was ours to create. No matter what challenges came our way, our family's strength and unity would carry us through.